feeling clean. But this was before he was struggling with the game, struggling with other stuff. I see a big difference in the posture there. I'm going to outline what that difference is. What do you
see that kind of upright?
I don't see it as upright. And what I'd like to do to make it really clear what's going on, I like drawing lines around people's bodies because lines make it easier to see what's going on.
Well, I can clearly see that here's not enough of that solution in line set up like the way you type.
Now, I'm going to say, if we dropped a straight line down, let's say a plumb bob line down from the bottom of his spine, that is clearly behind his heels.
Minor.
So his hips are over his ankle joints, and the base of his spine is behind his heels. And I would say what that leads to right away is Tiger's balance would be more or less at the balls of his feet, the knees, the hands, the elbows, and the top of the spine are all more or less in a line. All those should line up. I look at yours, and I think you're too bent forwards at the top part, and you haven't got your bum or your butt or the base of your spine behind you. So one of the things I'm going to do right at the get-go is get you, young man, where when you set up, I'm going to have you feel that you push your butt back a bit more. I'm going to do a drill with you where we're going to stand you against a wall. We're going to get you balanced a bit better. I see a very different flex in the knees of the player on the right. I see this look. With you, you're almost
standing up straight.
You're almost too. Well, you are. You're kind of too straight, really, aren't you?
Yeah.
Too straight. So I don't think that will be hard to fix. That's not.
I think that's also another reason why I feel like my wrists go like this. West tight.
I quite agree. Quite agree. You know that there is. What's your best subject at school?
I really was liking geometry and biology last year.
I knew that because I could see the angles. And when you look at the angles, like, yeah, your angles are somewhat different, that's for sure. Okay, so I definitely think we can do something with that. I'm going to get you balanced a little bit better. Now, if I also take a look at your golf swing, and we'll look at it from this side, when I see you set up there, I also see you there, Robert, where your right hip is higher than your left. That's a no-no. It should be the other way round. It should be, when you set up, that in fact, if anything, there's Jack Nicklaus from a long time ago, but if we look at the great Jack Nicklaus, if we look at his belt line, we look at his, as I say, body shape, I actually see a very different shape with your body. It's almost like what you've got it a bit back to front. So what I'm going to suggest that we do when we do our wall drill in a moment is I'm going to say, now Robert, I want you to take your left cheek and slide it along a wall. You'll see with this picture of Jack, and I know he's using a 3-wood there and you're not, but if I drew a line straight down from his left shoulder, you can see that his thigh and his hip are outside that line. Well. Now that should highlight to you a bit of the difference. I think we've got a couple of things to do in the setup right at the get-go. Now, so that's where we're going to start today. With the swing itself, I think it's really important when people swing the club that you understand stability or staying steady. There's another good posture. That's Stuart Appleby, the Australian golfer. Wonderful difference in the posture there. I'm drawing some different lines here, and you'll see why in just a moment. So I think you're out of balance. You're probably too much on your toes right there. And then what's going to happen as you swing back. You see how your upper body moves out of that silhouette?
Yeah.
It's as if you...
I've been having a problem lately.
You sort of bend forwards as you make your backswing. You watch a player of Appleby's quality. If anything, he goes back, but you can say because with you, he stays more or less pretty steady. So I'm going to say you're bending over too much, and again, that I think puts way too much weight sort of out on the toes.
Yeah, I used to be actually maybe 3-4 weeks ago dipping about this much. If that's what you call it. It's just horrendous.
Well, I'm not going to call it dipping. I'm just going to say you're moving out of position, and I've got some drills and some thoughts that I think will help you with that. But I certainly think the setup that you're in and the way you're moving the club in the takeaway, that's going to make it very difficult for you to consistently get the club on the ball. The direction of your downswing actually isn't too bad, which is why a lot of your shots would be straight. And I would say your move through the ball is really pretty good.
Oh, I don't think so. I'm not laying on my right side.
Not that I see.
Really?
Do you know how good you are? How could I not?
Just tell me about his heart condition.
Oh dear, sorry to hear that.
Do you think you can go back and I see like the impact position?
From this side?
Yeah.
It would be hard for me to say from this angle that you're laying back on the right side. You're right heels in the air. I wouldn't see that as laying back. We'll have a better look at that from the other side.
Profile.
Stephen! Sorry, what did you say?
Set my heart.
No, what did you say?
Oh, yeah, from the profile. Or like face on it.
Okay.
Because it does kind of feel like I'm scooping.
Well, I think, first of all, again, I'd say in the setup, and I am not, Robin would tell you, I am not a teacher who thinks that the setup is this magical cure for all that ails you in a golf swing, not by any means. And I think when you hear some of the world best players say setting up 90% of it, it's like, well, if you're Tiger Woods, maybe it is. If you're anything else, maybe it is. It isn't for most of us. But if you don't set up correctly, you've got a problem. Again, I'm going to draw the line, this is Zach Johnson, I'm going to draw the line from the left shoulder straight down to the left foot. I'm going to draw your line. Now, do you see any difference there in how you're set up?
Yeah, it's behind it.
You're behind it.
So,
yeah. So, I think you've already set up to perhaps be hitting the upswing. So, I'm going to say today, especially knowing that I'm going to see on Friday, I'm going to say today, probably more than anything, the emphasis is going to be on how you set up at that ball. And that will probably change some things for you. These would be my measuring lines to see if you are hanging back on your right side or not. And I'll be able to give you a definitive yes or no. We'll see if you're scooping or not. We know you're going to sort of change your levels, change your height.
Then I think I actually keep those little kind of downswing.
Guess what? We're doing the same. You've got no wrist cock there at all, which is a problem. Well, you've got virtually no wrist cock. I think by the time you're there, I'd like to see the wrists are given and the club would be, you'd be hinging the wrist a little bit.
That is where most of my distance is gone. Yes.
No, it's not.
Really, it's not.
I don't think you're overly hanging back on your right side there. I've seen players with more weight on the left foot. I don't think you're overly hanging back on your right side. You may be using your wrists a little bit too much, maybe, because I think when you hit that ball, ideally,
that's got to be a straight line.
Yeah, left shoulder to club would be a straight line. You've got a little bit of a kink in it. That's losing your shot distance. Probably not as much as you think. I would like us to start. I think what we should start with today is get you in a much better position with your balance, much better position with your hips, and I'm going to give you some wrist action on the backside. And then we'll see where we go from there, because we're going to see you on Friday again anyway. Okay, so that's what we're going to be working on. This one more.
So I shouldn't worry about that I'll potentially on my right side too much.
I'm not sure, I'm not convinced that you are. I mean, I can measure it, I've got equipment to measure it in time, but I'm not convinced that you are.
It kind of doesn't look like they're all.
It doesn't look like it. When I say I'm not convinced you are, I have a sort of an engineer type mind, so I'm not going to flat out say, no, you're not on your right side. Because anything's possible. Do you look like you're hanging on your right side? Not to me. Not to me, not at all.
I mean, that king sounded good.
No, but you can still play pretty well.
Yeah, you still handle. I mean, like, days where my short game is at the top, where it can be, I do 78, 77.
I'm going to get you better than that.
Yeah, I know, I'm like...